hopefully you found your way to this page after watching the first part of my guide with Bloodsail Buccaneers. We'll be picking up where that guide left off, and these steps will be assuming that you've completed the grind with Bloodsail. While you're doing that, you may have noticed your Steamwheedle Cartel dropping at an alarming rate from grinding the Booty Bay citizens, and in all likelihood it just simply quit once you bottomed out your hated standing with the goblins. As with the previous guide, there are two methods to rectifying the situation, with one being much shorter than the other, but with a downside. The short method will cost your Bloodsail rep, however, it's really not important to keep. The bug that Blizzard had in the game previously that required all of your reputations to be at the required level simultaneously to get this feat done has been fixed. So now once you attain the required standing with each faction, it's ticked off for the feat of strength, and you can butcher your reputation with the faction if you'd like. The longer method is much more tedious, much more time consuming, but if you're one of those people that would like to keep their Bloodsail rep, I'll go into detail on how to do that a little bit later. To check your progress on this achievement, there is a pretty nifty macro you can use. I'll show it to you right now. It'll put the feat of strength into a chat message where you can simply click on it and it'll bring up the status of where you are so far. I'll show you the code for the macro here. And I will also link it in the description for easy copy and pasting to get it working on your system. For this step, we'll be starting here in Everlook. As you can see, it's just a bit west of Everlook, actually. There's a goblin outside of the town. You won't be able to go into the town if you've just gotten off of your Bloodsail grind, because you will be hated with these guys. So there will be a goblin just outside of the town, and he will have a repeatable quest. Now, as in the previous video, I've already done this quest, so it's not going to show up for me, but I just wanted to show you where this guy is and tell you how you proceed about doing this. Now, before you embark on this journey, I should warn you that you're going to need a great deal of cloth and a few various items to get these quests done. For this particular one, you'll need 154 stacks of rune cloth and 308 pieces of coal, assuming you're fully hated with Everlook, which you likely are, and that you do have the 10% reputation perk from your guild bonus, which most guilds do by now. Each turn-in will give 550 rep for their primary faction, along with 275 spillover rep for the other three. Now, the primary faction is the city closest to wherever you are for the quest at the moment. So since we're near Everlook, the primary reputation is going to be Everlook, of course, and the spillover rep will be to Booty Bay, Gadget Zan, and Ratchet, respectively. So once you have that kind of figured out, the reason we're doing it in this order is because Everlook has no mobs you can grind that give primary rep for the faction, and these cloth quests disappear at neutral. So you'll want to get Everlook as high as possible, just grind it all the way to neutral, and then you'll be able to get spillover rep from turning in these same types of quests for the other three factions, which will push your Everlook rep into Honored, is what happened with me. So just by doing all the quests turn in, the cloth turn in quests, I was able to get Honored with these. And then of course the next three factions weren't quite as high because they didn't have spillover from the others past neutral, where the quest giver stopped giving the quest. So as I said, you'll need 154 stacks of rune cloth, 308 pieces of coal. You may need to make some trips to a mailbox, or if you have a portable mailbox, that could come in handy here. And you'll just sit here and turn these in until you get up to neutral. And as I mentioned earlier, the quest will disappear at neutral. For rune cloth, I suggest you go to Stratholme to farm that. You can do some Rivendare mount runs while you're working on that, or if you'd like to just buy it on the auction house, that's fine too. About the time that I was grinding this, cloth prices skyrocketed on my server, so I had to farm most of it as I didn't feel like paying 40 gold a stack for rune cloth. If you don't like Stratholme, you can go to places like Deadwind Pass and kill ogres, and of course this process will go quite a bit quicker if you're a tailor for the scavenging you get. I think that's about it for here. Once you get this turned in, your next stop will be Booty Bay, and that's where this guide will continue. Alright, having made your way to Booty Bay, you'll want to locate an NPC just outside the city named Bloodsail Trader. As you can see, she's located just south of Mist Valley, a little bit north of Booty Bay. For this quest, you will need silk cloth and red dye in place of the rune cloth and coal that you used for the Everlook turn-ins. I should note that you will need these in slightly lesser quantities than you needed for the Everlook items because the turn-ins that you just did should have granted a bit of spillover for the other three factions and given you a head start on this. Now, to farm silk cloth, if you don't feel like buying it off the auction house, I found the best place, the most effective use of my time was to go to Scarlet Monastery. The cathedral and armory instances there are rather quick to run and give quite a bit of silk per run, and you can easily farm the required amount in a few resets, and you should never run into a lockout timer because you have 2 instances to do per lockout. Once these are done, head over to Northern Barrens and we'll pick it up there. Alright, having arrived in the Northern Barrens, or Ratchet more specifically, you'll want to locate an NPC just outside the city as you've done with the other reputations. For this one, her name is Moopsie Shacklefrid, and she will give you the repeatable quest for Ratchet. For this one, the 2 items you're going to need are linen cloth and empty vial. Once again, the amount you're going to need is dependent on how low your rep was when you finished the Bloodsail grind and consequently what the spillover rep from the other quests you've done has brought you up to. But nevertheless, it shouldn't be too much, and linen cloth is generally quite cheap. So once you get these done, our final stop will be Gadget Zen. Now, once you're in Gadget Zen, you'll want to locate a goblin just outside the city. This one is named Remsen Fizzlebrack. He will be the NPC that will take your final cloth turn-ins. For this city, you will need Mage Weave and Strong Flux. Strong Flux, of course, is available from any major city. And Mage Weave, you have a few options to farm it if you don't want to buy it from the auction house. Luckily, you're in Tenaris already, and that's probably the best spot to farm it. The options are Zulfaric, if you want to actually go into the instance. Just outside the instance, there are a lot of tombs with undead trolls in them, I guess you could say. And then any of the ruins around here will have mobs. So pretty much any of those areas you want to grind will all give you a good rate of Mage Weave, and you can get what you want without spending too much effort. Alright, so once that's done, unfortunately the real grind begins. You should have all of your Steamwheedle Cartel reputations to at least neutral, with Gadget Zan being only neutral, since that quest will disappear when you get it to neutral. The reason you did it in this order, as I mentioned earlier, Gadget Zan rep is the easiest to grind, and because you did it in this order, it will be the lowest of your reps right now. Now, we are going to be heading over here to Lost Rigger Cove. Okay, once you've made it to Lost Rigger Cove, you'll want to take note of a couple of things before you begin farming. First of all, I'll just kind of re-highlight the area on the map here. It's kind of the east coast by Caverns of Time. So you'll make your way out here, and you'll notice there are a seemingly endless number of pirates out here, which is good, and they have very fast respawn timers. Now, one of the important things you'll want to note is the rare spawn, who happens to be up here, and it's quite convenient for this video, Andre Firebeard. He doesn't drop anything significant, but just like the special mobs in Booty Bay, he does give quite a bit of rep when he's killed. I believe it's 30 or so. So you'll want to keep an eye out for him, but since he is a rare spawn, he's not going to be up all that often. Once you make your way back onto the mainland, you can start farming, and believe me, you're going to need some patience here. You will be killing thousands and thousands of pirates. It will probably take several days for you to do with hours of farming each day. The good news is these pirates have extremely low health. Pretty much anything you have can one-shot them. So, as you can see here, as a warlock, I like to just Fell Flame. Nice instant cast. I can do it while I'm running. Don't have to stop. There's no reason to loot. They don't drop anything worthwhile, especially at this point in the grind. And you can kind of outline this whole area. You can go into the houses if you'd like. I generally don't like to. It's kind of a hassle, and there's only 2 or 3 mobs in there. So you kind of outline the area, killing what you see, and allowing the ones in the other half of the region to respawn while you're killing these. Now, around this campfire, there will be 2 to 3 mobs that spawn at the same time. You know, you can just do a simple AoE to get them all down at once. Just kind of tips and tricks, nothing really complicated here, just things that I found to work for me. So once you get the hang of this, you're going to be doing this until 20,999 rep is acquired for exalted status of Gadget Sand. Now, when you're 1 point away, the rest of your rep should have gotten at least into a decent amount of honored, if not revered themselves. You will then take off and head back to the Northern Barrens to a little island by Ratchet, which is where this will pick up again in a second. Okay, when you get done with grinding mobs in Gadgetzan, you'll want to come out here. This is a small island southeast of Ratchet, and what you'll be doing here is pretty much the same thing. You'll be grinding mobs. The difference is these have a primary faction of Ratchet. So as you were getting double the rep for Gadgetzan and Tenaris, you'll be getting double the rep for Ratchet here in this island in Northern Barrens. This will push your Gadgetzan rep into Exalted. It'll give you that last point that you couldn't get in Tenaris, and then of course give the spillover rep for the other factions as well, while grinding your Ratchet rep up faster. The spawn rate is not too great here, and there aren't too terribly many mobs, especially when you get used to the rate of the mobs in Tenaris, but this is still probably a better place to farm rather than just going for spillover rep in Tenaris, at least while these give primary rep for Ratchet. So you'll be farming these for quite some time. When you get to 11,999 of honored, so just short of revered, these will stop giving reputation. So you will need to go back over to Tenaris once more and start grinding there again. Unfortunately, at this point, the grind becomes insanely difficult, and you have to grind the rest of the factions from spillover rep only. At this point, there's nothing else in the game that will give primary rep for any of the remaining goblin factions. So you're going to be grinding mobs at 2 to 3 rep each. So be ready, buckle in, and get to farming. One last thing I want to go over regarding Steamwheedle Cartel rep is a brief alternative to grinding pirates. There are several quests available. Many that got reset even if you've done them pre-cata were reset after the shattering, as well as some new ones that were implemented that will increase your rep with all 4 factions. Now, these aren't really any quicker than grinding pirates because there is quite a bit of travel time involved. You're not staying in one place. The quests don't give a ton of rep, and in some cases they're drop items that start the quest, so you have to farm mobs that don't give any rep to get the quest started. So it's not really faster, but if you need a break from killing pirates, because I understand it can get kind of monotonous, that's a really good alternative. So I will give a link to the page with all available quests for these factions in the description, and feel free to check it out if you need a break from instant spamming on pirates. Thanks.